The April 7th, 2020 Finance Committee to order at 6:46. Consideration of claims. Chair would entertain a motion for the approval of the claims.
Your Honor, I would make a motion for the consideration of claims to be paid in the amount of $476,506.14, manual checks in the amount of $10,410, payroll and liabilities in the amount of $644,984.67, for a total of $1,131,900.81.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kyle. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passed. Is there anything additional that the committee needs to review or discuss?
Your Honor, we have nothing.
Thank you. Anything from you, Kyle or Corey?
I did
I
just
have nothing either.
want to note, it looks like we had some more grant funding coming out, and is that correct? That's why it's, when I see Big Brothers Big Sisters, Eagles Hope, am I correct understanding that's grant funding we're giving them?
Your Honor, that is community service contracts for service funding. That is something that is approved by the council at the beginning of each budget session, and this is the final distribution to each of those entities for this fiscal year.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is that everything you had, Mr. Rhoda?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Seeing there's nothing else to discuss, the meeting's adjourned at what time? 6:47?
Call the April 7th, 2020 regular meeting of the Riverton City Council to order at 7:01. Pledge of Allegiance we'll have that led by Councilman Rhoda, and invocation will be given by Mayor Guard.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
Flag of the United States of America.
for which it stands,
and to the republic for which it stands, one
Stands
nation, God,
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the many blessings that we are given. At this time of need, we ask Him special blessings to be with those that have the coronavirus, that You might be able to help them and to relieve their pain and anguish, and those families that have lost their family members, that they might know that we have sympathy with them. We're grateful for our first responders, for our police officers, for our firemen, for our doctors and our nurses, for our ambulance crews. We're grateful for the hard work that they put in and to keep us safe. We ask to have Thee keep us in mind, that we might be wise in our distancing, that we might be able to do our very best to make this pandemic go away. We ask for Thy guidance this evening to be with us, that we might have the opportunity to conduct business for the city of Riverton, that we might be able to come to good conclusions and be able to organize the things that are working around us. We ask for these many blessings, and we thank Thee, and we do it in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Would the Deputy City Clerk please conduct roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilwoman Carla Borders.
Here.
Councilman Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilwoman Rebecca Schatza.
Here.
Councilman Corey Rhoda.
Here.
Councilman Tim Hancock.
Here.
Councilman Kyle Larson.
Here.
And Mayor Richard Guard.
Here. I declare that the quorum is present. The chair would entertain a motion to amend the agenda to include an executive session following item 8 on the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Schatza and a second by Councilwoman Borders. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passed. Communication from the floor. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council regarding an item that is scheduled for a public hearing will be given the opportunity to speak during that public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the council on other items may speak now. I would ask those individuals who wish to address the council at this time to approach the podium, identify yourself for the record. Seeing none, I'm off script. Seeing none, I would ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Borders and a second by Councilman Rhoda. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passed. Would the Deputy City Clerk please read the consent agenda items by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Approval of the minutes, March 16th, 2020 emergency council meeting. Approval of the minutes, March 17th, 2020 regular council meeting. Approval of the minutes, April 7th, 2020 finance committee meeting. Approval of the finance committee recommendations for April 7th, 2020. And approval of the municipal court report for the month of March 2020.
Thank you. Is there any other further information?
Your Honor, the Finance Committee met this evening before our meeting. It was approved to pay considerations of claims in the amount of $476,506.14. Manual checks in the amount of $10,410. Payroll and liabilities in the amount of $644,984.67. For a total of $1,131,900.81.
Thank you very much. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented. We have a motion by Councilwoman Schatza. I need a second.
Second.
Corey? I have a second by Councilman Rhoda.
Are you there?
Yes.
Good deal.
Thank you, gentlemen. We will, the chair would entertain a motion to reconvene into the regular session.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Schatza and a second by Councilman Mike Bailey. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. We are reconvened at 8:02. Tony, are there any action items from
Your Honor, no, not until later.
executives? Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
We'll move to item 9, and that item is the Riverton Local Food Hub fee waiver. Would the Public Works Director give us our report, please?
Thank you, Your Honor. The Riverton Local Food Hub has made another request for a fee waiver for both of their leases at the terminal. As you remember, they have a lease in the cafe and then also a lease in the secure area. Much of this centers on the March 27th, 2020 public health order, which did order the closure of restaurants, food courts, cafes, etc. The Riverton Local Food Hub makes this request because they feel that since they cannot operate the space and generate revenue, it's hard for them to cover the lease obligation. The attached memo to your packet is an FAA statement regarding the waiver of fees and then also other matters related to the airport during this COVID-19 pandemic. I can state that that memo was already out of date. An update was issued on April 3rd. However, it is not making, this newer memo does not make any changes to what they previously communicated, in that you do have the ability to waive fees in light of the COVID situation. You just have to make sure that if you waive it for one tenant, you need to waive it for similar tenants of the same nature. So let's say we had a watchmaker at the airport, you would then have to waive the fees for all other watchmakers at the airport. Therefore, city staff recommends that the council discuss and consider this fee waiver and put it in, if it so chooses, put it in place for as long as this health order is in place.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the lease fee waiver for the Riverton Local Food Hub to waive rental fees while the restrictions associated with COVID-19 prohibiting public use of the airport.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Schatz and a second by Councilman Bailey. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. Airport lease agreement, vending machines, Public Works Director's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. There are several vending companies who have expressed interest in operating out of the airport terminal, and there are some who are currently operating out of the terminal without a lease agreement. Pursuant to FAA standards, we need to have lease agreements for all vendors in the terminal, and this has to do with our grant assurances. Therefore, we've drafted a lease agreement to work as a standard lease agreement for vending machine and concession companies for the terminal. As stated in the document, the base term, the lease includes a base term with an option to renew terms, an annual rent of $18 a square foot, and then a monthly concession fee of 10% of the lessee's gross revenue. Assuming a 3x3 footprint of a vending machine, this base rent generates $160 a year, and then whatever concessions on top of it. I can say that we researched other airports. This seems fairly standard and consistent to what we already do at the airport for our concessionaires. Some airports have higher lease rates. There was one that had a 40% concession requirement. That probably is not appropriate, especially in consideration with what we've done with other tenants. Therefore, we recommend the council approve this standard lease agreement for staff to execute with interested vending companies for the airport terminal. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the standard lease agreement for the vending machine concessionaires at the Riverton Regional Airport.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Rhoda and a second by Councilwoman Schatz. Any further discussion?
Mayor, just one question. Now that with the vending machines, being that they do provide food and drinks similar to the local food hub, will they be waived these first couple months as far as rent on that ground?
Your Honor, Councilman, that would have to be at the discretion of council. Right now, the health order doesn't include these type of
Vending machines?
operations, but that would be something you would have to consider.
And that would have to come in another motion. But you could
Which
present
is
that.
fine. I was just curious if it fell under the same thing since it was a food and drink. But that makes sense that it's not ordered by the FAA or anything right now that it wouldn't. So I was just for clarification. Thank you.
Kyle and Tim, do you have any questions?
I don't.
I don't, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Bid award of the of the Riverton Water Supply Project. Public Works Director's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm very happy to present this to you today because it's the culmination of a lot of years of work. A lot of credit goes to my predecessor for this project. In 2009, the city went into an agreement with the Wyoming Water Development Commission for a large transmission and pressure improvement project and storage project through the whole town. Because of its large scope, it was broken into 3 phases. The first 2 phases are complete, which includes the 2 million gallon tank on Airport Hill and booster stations, pressure reducing and pressure sustaining valves, and then also transmission line. This last phase centers on the construction of a transmission line from that 2 million gallon tank on Airport Hill, and it connects to the city's water supply off of Riverview Road. It also includes the installation of several pressure sustaining and pressure reducing valves. Burns & McDonnell is the city's consulting engineer for this project. They prepared plans and specifications, and these were advertised for public bid March 2nd, 2020, and a public bid opening was on March 24th, 2020 with the following results. Mountain View Building Incorporated in the amount of $4,658,365. COP Construction Incorporated in the amount of $4,578,765. Jerry Bornhoff Construction in the amount of $3,740,090.65. And High Country Construction in the amount of $3,697,289. City staff, Burns & McDonnell, Wyoming Water Development Commission, and legal counsel external to the City of Riverton reviewed the bid specifications and bid submittals for responsiveness. Of note, the bid specifications did require bidders to provide a qualification statement outlining their experience with projects similar to the 3rd phase of the Riverton Water Supply Project. To be specific, it required that bidders in their qualification statement provide examples within the last 5 years of installing a minimum of 10,000 linear feet of 16-inch water pipeline or greater. Both Jerry Bornhoff Construction and High Country Construction's qualification statements were non-responsive to this specific requirement in the qualification statement. COP and Mountain View Building were responsive to this requirement. In its review, Burns & McDonnell prepared a recommendation of award to the City Council, which is attached in your packet. In it, they recommend the City Council award this project to High Country Construction and have determined that the non-responsive qualification statement of both High Country and Jerry Bornhoff were immaterial to their ability to perform this job in a quality manner, and it was not in any way a hindrance to the other bidders. Staff also received a legal memo from outside counsel reviewing the bid submittal and the bid specifications that has been shared with the City Council. In it, the legal opinion was the council had 2 options to consider. One would be to award the project to the low bidder and determine that the non-responsive qualification statement was immaterial, or reject all bids and rebid the project and consider award at a later date for a later opening. This project is funded for the most part through the Wyoming Water Development Commission at 67% of cost, and the engineer's estimate for this project was $4,495,114. Therefore, city staff recommends the City Council consider either awarding to High Country Construction and determining that the qualification was immaterial to their ability to complete the project and immaterial to the intention of the bid, or reject all bids and direct staff to bid the project again.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Councilman Bailey.
I would move that we award the Riverton Supply Project to High Country Construction in the amount of $3,697 or $7,000, 289. What a number. And determine that the variance in the statement of qualifications is immaterial to their ability to successfully perform and complete the project.
Second that, Your Honor.
So we have a motion from Councilman Bailey, and we have a second from Councilwoman Shaw.
Second.
We have a second from Councilman Larson. Seeing as how we're not giving you guys any time to jump in. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. Public hearing and consideration of ordinance number 20-001, first reading, excessive acceleration. Police Chief's report, please.
Your Honor, thank you. The city attorney had contacted myself and the city administrator and asked us about this city ordinance, excessive or exhibition of speed. I can tell you that the exhibition of speed was very vague and just was not fitting what we had wanted it to do. So we came up with a new city ordinance, excessive acceleration, which reads, "No person shall cause the motor of any vehicle to race unnecessarily. No person shall accelerate any vehicle to a degree which causes the tires to squeal, to leave marks on the pavement, or to spin against an ice-free road surface." Or C, no person shall accelerate any vehicle with intent of competing with another vehicle or of displaying the capability of the vehicle to any other person. So, Your Honor, I would say that this city ordinance is much better than the ones that we had, and so we're asking that it be approved by the city council.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Would the deputy city clerk please read ordinance number 20-001 by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Proposed ordinance number 20-001 on first reading. An ordinance amending Title 10 Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.12 Additional Traffic Regulations to revise Section 10.12.060 Exhibition of Speed and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict therewith and providing for an effective date.
Good job. Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Councilwoman Borders has the motion. Councilman Rhoda has the second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion passed. I now declare the public hearing is open. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statute and other applicable laws. I ask those individuals wishing to address the council to approach the podium and identify yourself for the record. Seeing none, the chair would make the motion that we close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Schatza and a second by Councilwoman Borders. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. The chair would entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 20-001 on first reading.
So moved.
The second.
Councilwoman Schatza has the motion, and the second is for Councilwoman Borders. Any further discussion?
Your Honor.
Mike?
Eric, does the existing ordinance, are you having trouble prosecuting people for excessive acceleration?
Your Honor.
Because of this ordinance, or I guess what is your reasoning there?
Your Honor.
Yes.
So I can tell you that in my 20 years of working for the Riverton Police Department, we've seen this just once recently. The male took it to court, and I believe we lost. So we're just trying to figure out a way to do things a little bit better, I guess is what I would say.
Tony?
Your Honor. I was involved on the initial when our city attorney brought it forward. And and oddly enough, I've seen a couple of these over the years.
You were the guy that got the ticket?
Let's go with that. No, my truck won't let me. The conversation that was had is that the existing ordinance, it's not that this can't be cited currently. It exists currently. The way that it is currently proposed in your packet, you can see the area that was added in order to provide definition. That's what was done. So our city attorney said, well, looking at this is a little bit vague. It's a little bit hard for us to consider. And as such, or to prosecute if it actually comes up. And they come up, honestly, very rarely. So the idea was to say, well, we want to be more specific in exactly what you have to do in order to violate a particular law. Not some, you think this is excessive acceleration and this person thinks it's this. Some more parameters. We're trying to be more clear. That was the recommendation. And I believe the language is based also on the Lander had one that was more developed. So that is what we brought from our city attorney, was simply some more clarification language in order to make sure if and when it does come up, it's clear. I don't know if that's more clear.
Anything else?
Your Honor,
Yes, Tim, go ahead.
I guess I first heard about this, I think, on Friday or Thursday, and I would just say, as a prosecutor, this language would be a nightmare to try to prosecute that we have currently in the excessive acceleration or the exhibition of speed is how it is right now. It's too vague to be very helpful. Already, officers would be looking for these things, somebody who's squealing their tires or that sort of thing, and they would stop them for doing that. But then it would be an argument as to whether that was really something that was not reasonable and prudent. So this has already been kind of the guidelines that I think the officers were using to determine excessive acceleration or exhibition of speed, but it just really makes it a lot more clear. Vague ordinances can create a lot of problems in terms of stopping a person and then discovering that they're drunk. And then if the ordinance gets challenged as being vague, then we might have to be letting a drunk driver go. It just gets very complex. So I think giving it some more detail is very appropriate. And I can say I looked up the Lander one, and it's exactly the same, except ours maintains that beginning part, unlawful to accelerate in a manner which is not reasonable. Theirs just only has the list of the shall cause to race unnecessarily, etc.
Thanks, Tim. Any other discussion? Mike?
I assume we're going to be waiving this for our rendezvous,
Burnout?
street burnouts and that kind of stuff?
Your Honor, that is correct.
Perfect. We'd hate to not smell those tires burn. So. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. Item number 13 is WYDOT agreement for relocation of a utility box. Public Works Director's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. This item basically allows WYDOT to reimburse us for expenses that we have incurred to support their upcoming project to improve ADA accessibility on Main Street. Basically, at one of the locations of their improvements, there was a Rocky Mountain Power utility box in conflict with the new alignment of the ADA ramp. That utility box supports City of Riverton streetlights. Therefore, Rocky Mountain Power needed our involvement to get it relocated. This agreement basically states that within 45 days of receiving an invoice, WYDOT will reimburse us the cost of the relocation, which Rocky Mountain Power has already performed and invoiced us. It is in the amount of $12,100. Therefore, staff recommends the City Council approve this agreement with the Wyoming Department of Transportation and give signatory authority to the Public Works Director. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the agreement between the City of Riverton and the Wyoming Department of Transportation for the relocation of the Rocky Mountain Power utility box.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Borders and a second by Councilman Bailey. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Consideration of a resolution number 1413, Transportation Alternative Program, a TAP TAP grant application for city lights. Public Works Director's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. The City of Riverton installed street lighting as part of the North Federal Reconstruction Project from Washington to Sunset Drive. However, during the planning and construction of these lights, there was not sufficient budget to install the lights north of Sunset, specifically Sunset to Walmart. However, later in the project, staff was directed to install at least the subterranean infrastructure to support streetlights while the highway was under construction. Now that that work has been completed, city staff would like to solicit or seek grant funding to support the installation of the upright structures of the street lighting north of Sunset. The future installation includes 51 locations at a cost estimate of $485,000. That is approximately $7,000 per location. The application for the TAP grant is twofold. It includes a submittal of statement of interest from communities, and they are due April 15th, 2020. After these are reviewed from an initial screening from a selection committee, we can then submit our second part of the TAP application, which is due July 15th, 2020. TAP projects are funded at a ratio of 80-20. Therefore, the city's matching requirement for this grant application is $97,000. Thank you.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 1413.
So moved.
Second?
Councilman Bailey has the motion. Councilman Rhoda has the second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Item 15 is the coronavirus impact to date. City Administrator's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. One of the things that we wanted to do was provide a little bit of an update about some of the efforts that the city is doing. And allow council the opportunity to ask staff questions about how we're addressing certain items, what kind of resources we're finding. It's a good time to provide that. The good news is most of what I'm going to tell you is already put out on our website. We currently have more than 22 different resources. Every time we find one that is reasonable and legitimate, that either from the state or the federal government or a funding source or a set of resources or even what the chamber has put together for within our community, those go on our website. That is front and center within our resources page. You can click on it. All of them have good links on them. I've tested them. Megan's done a great job of putting those up. That is every order that has been put up. That is every order that has been issued from the governor. That is every amendment to those orders. That is every financial resource that we particularly know about at a time. We would ask that right now there's 22, 23 of them up there, every one of them a link. And if anybody has any of those that they want us to put up there, send them to us. The more information that we can provide, we feel the better, because it might help one or two people, but in the amount of time it takes, it can help those one or two people, and we're appreciative of that. With that, a lot of our effort internally, other than just changing the way in which we do business within the city, has a lot to do with looking at what this is going to do long term. And honestly, one of our challenges, we use sales tax. as a guide for impact in a community and growth and the like. We've been doing that for a while. We track it well. The challenge that we have is we're 2 months in arrears. We're not even, the monies that we'll get this month, we don't even have no bearing on the economy that we are currently living in. That creates some significant problems going into budget. It creates an unknown environment. We are having, we have a meeting tomorrow with mayors and some administrators to talk about possible revenue projections with WHAM. That's going. We hope that's going to be useful. While we like to analyze the numbers that we have and predict a little bit, we know that there are other minds out there that do it nonstop and for a living, and we want to hear what they have to say. We hope to get some guidance and some ideas as we walk into our budgets. State of Wyoming being in a budget this year, it's, you know, not just this year, but going into it this time of year, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, not only for what we do, how we do it, but also the flexibility we'll have to have over the next year. And I believe we'll be able to do that. I think everybody has it in mind, and everybody's being very diligent about it. We've also tracked unemployment claims. We've worked with the state in order to get an ongoing spreadsheet of that. Initial claims were not, as of the 28th, were not up as much as one would have expected compared to the national. But obviously there's a jump. Those numbers, we haven't got the most recent of those numbers. Once those are up, we do expect that to go up a little bit based on the information that we have on a national level, but we will see. I had some of the good news is that there is a lot of funding out there right now for different items. The challenge that we have is most of that funding that we're running into. I was on a webinar today with ICMA, and they had, 30 different major funding sources. Challenge is a lot of them are associated with coronavirus response, not municipal operations. Now, there are some that we are trying to help support, and National League of Cities is pushing certain items within some of the future funding that would probably help stabilize us a little bit. That's something that we have to look at as we see some declining revenues, whether that be for a 2-month period or a 4-month period, whatever that recovery period is. So we're going to take some of those resources and we're going to try to push them to the people in our community that they can actually help. So maybe it doesn't apply to us, but heck, if it can apply to WRTA or as a transportation or anything we can do to help stave off some of those challenges. We do expect the state legislature to meet and determine some distributions, however they're going to distribute federal dollars that have been allocated to the state. To be honest, we have heard comparatively very little about what that would look like and when it would be. I don't have anything to report. We'll see. And I will say that city staff, we are taking some steps. We've purchased a handful of items that would, depending on not knowing what's coming, would give us some flexibility in terms of how we provide operations from distance. IT's done a really good job of trying to help that, and staff has been nothing but good about adjusting to this new environment, regardless of how temporary it is. I think they've done a great job of providing service consistently. So with that, we have, I think everybody sees the numbers that are out there. The mayor and I both attend the ICC meetings via phone. The Governor Gordon puts out those numbers on his site. But we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have or any concerns or any ideas that you have. We're happy to hear them, whether it be now or later on. But that would be all we have for our overall update.
Thank you. Let's go to 16 and council and committee and reports and roundtable. Corey, since you're so far over there, would you start us off?
Yes, Mayor. So we did have a Fremont County School District Recreation Board meeting. It was pretty short and sweet. Didn't really accomplish anything major. It was just a touch base to see how everybody was doing. The same with Community Engagement Committee. We're still Full steam ahead, July 11th at City Park, I believe. Is that correct? I would put money on July 11th at City Park. So as far as committee meetings, those are the only ones that I've had. I did want to put word out there that Makerspace 307 is making masks. So if there's hospitals or anything that are needing those, if anybody's got a 3D printer, reach out to me. I can get you the files to get the masks out and help that way as well. As far as that is, Mayor, that is all that I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Yes, Your Honor, it's July 18th for this park, but the July 11th still in the city park should be the day in the park. So
Day in the park.
Yep.
That's what I was
I just want to say how awesome the community is coming together. There's a lot of different Facebook groups creating events for the community, also social distancing, so it's really neat. I just want to ask that if you're able to, please continue to put your money back into the local economy. The Chamber of Commerce is doing a great job at keeping people active in the community and keeping people spending funds within our community. Most all businesses offer online services and delivery services for the restaurants and curbside pickup. So please, if you're able to, keep that going. They sure do appreciate it. But other than that, all I got.
Thank you. Councilman Bailey?
Again, challenging times, but in these times, I think people rise to the occasion. I've seen a lot of great things happen. You know, again, like Rebecca said, the Chamber of Commerce is out there gathering funds to help people that are in need of different things if they're out of work or anything like that. And so I would encourage people to look at that and look at contributing to that. Again, you know, our dollars 100% go back into the community, where if you donate to some of these national type charities, that who knows where they end up going. And so I think, you know, the contributions that we all contribute here locally stay in our community and help other residents in our community. Again, it's been a challenging time with the schools closed and daycare shut down, and, you know, moms and dads having to be teachers at home and taking care of kids 24/7. And again, our business is sort of considered essential, like city services, where, you know, we have to still try to function and keep going. And that gets a little tricky when sometimes moms and dads have to stay home and take care of kids and do that kind of stuff. And then you throw in, if anybody's even got a hint of being sick, they need to stay home for 2 weeks and follow the instructions that the health department has given us. And so that makes everybody a little shorthanded. And so, you know, it doubles the load on the ones that are there, and so it becomes challenging. So I think, you know, the Fremont County spirit will carry on, and we will be stronger for this when we get through it, and we'll learn a lot of things and hopefully learn and do things better and, you know, enjoy the simple things in life that we have to enjoy, like being around our families and all that kind of stuff. So thank you. That's about all I had. Oh, it's Friday night cruise on Fridays that the Chamber of Commerce put together was fabulous, and there was actually traffic jam kind of things going on because there were so many people out, and I mean, it was great. It brings back the good old days. So.
And it gets people out, you know, going through like the drive-throughs and spending the money. So it is really neat. It's a really neat idea. Great job.
Tim, are you available?
Yes, it was just breaking up a little bit, so I didn't hear you were saying my name. We did have a chance to approve some of the bills with the rec board. That was good. I think we had decided just for now we're going to put a hold on new considerations in terms of people that are in need of funds for recreation projects. Not that those will never be funded, but if there's new projects in terms of beautification grants, that kind of thing, I think we were just kind of saying we're going to hold off on some of those for right now. Other than that, I would just echo what's been said in terms of supporting the community. I do think that there's a lot of good work out there community-wide, but I would also encourage you, this is a good time to find out if your neighbors are in need. Don't go barge into their house, but still, of course, respecting community distance, social distance. But I do think it's a good time to find out, you know, if there's some of your aged neighbors in particular, making sure you're checking in on them and seeing what they need and providing what they need. The reality is, with some of the hoarding of toilet paper or whatever that's been going on, that just means it's in the community. It doesn't mean it's gone. It's still there. So I'd encourage you to open up your stores and your pantry and share with people that need it if they find they can't get it from the supermarket as we go forward. But anyway, just a few thoughts.
Thank you. Kyle, are you there?
I am still there, yes.
Do you have anything to add?
Working from home is not what I would say is a dream come true. It sucks.
Won't anybody let you in the refrigerator?
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Carla?
Just a few things. First of all, I contacted Bethany Valdez, who's pretty active in the community, and she wanted me to mention Connect Riverton. It's this really cool website that they've made, and lots of cool resources on there. Something I've been doing personally is I've been making masks for people, and I'd like to maybe try to organize a group so maybe we can try to figure out who needs them most. I've just been kind of doing them for friends and family and coworkers. There is a Facebook page called Sewing for Our Heroes, Fremont County. So if you'd want to go there and show some interest, that would be great. The Finance Committee met tonight, of course. Solutions, we were supposed to meet this month, but we decided to postpone until June. So we're not going to meet in May. Other than that, I think it's about it. Oh, except on a fun note, I did actually get to witness Chinese fire drills the other night. Probably a good thing the police chief didn't see them, but it was pretty funny to see people out having so much fun and spending their money and still maintaining a distance. So it was great.
Thank you. We appreciate that. City Administrator's report.
Your Honor, other than what we've already talked about, I don't have a ton. We did receive contract service applications. Council is scheduled to review those. I think we have it scheduled for a work session for the upcoming, for next week. However, we have modified things a little bit. We had videos, short videos submitted instead of having presentations in person. So we may be in touch with you on how you want to work through that process right now. Usually, we have set up this process in order to give.
Melody, come here.
Somebody opened the refrigerator.
Sorry, threw me. We've set up the process in order to get everybody the opportunity to speak, and usually we do that in person. With the changes that we're experiencing, obviously we had to take some additional steps, because if you remember the last time we did this, the room was a little full. So we'll be in contact to try to figure out the best way to do that, but that's still scheduled for review. But at this point, we will be able to distribute both the video links and the application material in advance.
Do you want to change time on that meeting?
Mary, you can change time, or if we're just, it comes to my thought that if we're just reviewing, I don't know if you need one unless you want to have discussion in person. That's up to you.
Is 7 good for everybody? Stay at 7.
Outstanding. That's all, Your Honor. I have nothing else.
Thank you. You know, this has been a really interesting time, and I want to put people at as much ease as possible. Since the 17th of last month, I've been involved with the Emergency Stand-Up Council, and that goes off every morning. I think there's been 2 mornings that we didn't, and this morning's call was, we had Kyle Butterfield has some really funny videos of all the conference calling problems that happen, and so we had some problems this morning, and we had to shut down that call. But every morning, we get the county commissioners, we get the mayors, we get the sheriff, all the people that really do have control, and we have a conversation on the virus in our community. And so I really would like to thank everybody that's been involved. It's been a hard process, and yet one that is moving forward, and it doesn't always get things done the way we would like them done, but it sure does go off every morning. And so I appreciate those people that are working on that. On the 20th and the 21st, I went around to as many businesses as I could get into and talk to those businesses. Since then, the governor's passed more executive orders to close down. And in a large part, we're doing our part of what we've been asked to do. And so I would like to thank people for doing that, and to continue to distance each other from when they have the opportunity to do so. To give you a few little interesting tidbits, I get a lot of calls. Yesterday I got 51 calls. I'm glad to get those, and I would like you to keep calling and help us improve. But on Friday, I got a call that Freedom Liquors was hard at doing business, and when I got there, they sure were. They were doing exactly what they thought they could. And I talked with Mrs. Howard, and she was as pleasant as she could be. She could not have been more responsive. She called me yesterday and told me of all of the things that they put in place to make that work. They put X's on the floors. They limited access to their lobby to just 5 people. They moved a lot of their products to the drive-up window. And so when we treat people kindly and fairly, I've been impressed with how quickly people respond and are willing to help. And so I've just seen a lot of that, and I'd like to commend the people of Riverton for the work that they have done. I would like to thank the city staff. Tonight they're spread out. Some of them have 25 feet between each other. So I really do appreciate what they've done. To be real frank, the city is working well, and law enforcement is doing their job, and they're pulling their weight, and they're there when we need them. One of the big things, the big questions, is PPEs, and that's personal protective equipment, and that had to be sent out of Denver to Cheyenne. From Cheyenne, it came in on a freight truck to the county. The county has control of those, and they distribute those. And last Saturday, they called and asked if I would be interested in taking a tour of the ICU unit in Lander. Riverton does not have any cases in its hospital, and we have very few cases in Riverton. And so I went over, I took the opportunity to do that. My wife asked me if that was a good idea. I never thought if that was a good idea or not a good idea until somebody questioned me. But when we got there, they took really good care of us, and they put us in a regular mask to start with, and then they put us in an N95 mask so that you could see the difference of how much harder it is to breathe through that other mask. And then what was really interesting, they brought a nurse in and showed us what the staff has to do to get gowned up. And so you don't even think of those things, but if they have a code where somebody has to go into one of these ICU rooms, they have to get completely gowned up, which takes about 3 to 5 minutes. It consists of a gown and 2 pairs of gloves and a helmet like a miner's helmet with an oxygen supply that runs down to their belt that they have to clip on. It takes them a while to get all of this on before they could go in and help even somebody that has a heart attack or something like that. So you just don't think of these things. And the Lander Hospital has four rooms that are ICUs, and those are full. And there was 11 patients in the hospital, and so they've gone down the corridor, and they created another 16 rooms for that. And then seeing that those were getting filled up, they created another, I believe, 20 rooms. And so we only have 9 patients, I believe, in at the time in Lander. And so there's just a lot of logistics that have to take place. And the doctors, why they wanted us to come see that process was that they wanted us to try to get people to adhere as much as possible to social distancing. And so I would encourage everybody to follow that. There was a person that was on a ventilator that was only 29 years old. There were only 5 people on ventilators Saturday. Now there's only 3 people on ventilators. So there are bright spots in our discussions, but everybody is doing their level best, from the hospitals to the doctors to the nurses. And I would encourage you to do your very best to self-isolate, to distance between people, to try to do your very best to help other citizens. This is a real opportunity. Like Carla says, make the phone calls. Call people that you know that they probably don't need your help, but just the idea that you called. One of the real problems we're having is with all of this distancing, people are getting tired of being cooped up. And that's why the Friday night drag is so much fun. And, and with that comes maybe a little tick up in police services of people that aren't doing what they ought to be doing. And so I appreciate the people of Fremont County. I really appreciate the people of Riverton. They've been very kind to me as I went around town and talked to them and tried to make arrangements to help. And so let's keep this up for a few more weeks and see if we can't get through it. We really are concerned with the economic structure of Fremont County. And the City Hall is pointed that direction, and we understand the hardship that this has put on people. We are trying to do our very best to get back to work. And so if you just hang in there, give us a call. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can call my phone number. My cell number is 851-1627. And City Hall, Megan gets those calls, and she is exceptional with what she does. And she will get that message to whoever needs it as quickly as possible. And we want all of those questions answered, and we want to be of service, and we want to do it in the kindest way that we can. So with that said, I do appreciate everything that's being done. My sympathies go out to those families that are experiencing the virus, and our best wishes and our prayers will be with you. With nothing else, if there's no objections, we stand adjourned at 8:50.